Hello, my name's Lauren, and if you've not seen any of my videos before, I like to talk about all things bookish, so reading reviews, reading wrap-ups, reading vlogs, all of that good stuff. And today we are starting the first reading vlog of 2025, which is really exciting because reading vlogs are my absolute favourite thing to do, as I discovered last year. I do have a playlist of previous reading vlogs if you want to go and check out some of those, but this is one that I have been excited about now for a couple of months. I was originally going to read this book on my Kindle, but then I got a very exciting present for Christmas, and I got the full Caraval series with the American covers box set. So, as you have probably guessed, we are going in for this reading vlog and we are going to be reading Caraval. Now, I have never read the Caraval series. Confession time, until I joined BookTok in September 2024, I was blissfully unaware of this series and Stephanie Garber in general, and then I started seeing Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart all over TikTok, and I know how hugely popular this author is and how hugely popular this series is, and that intimidates me a little bit. But I also think that's why it might make a really good reading vlog, because I'm pretty much going in blind. Obviously I've read the blurb, but when it comes to content about these books, I have avoided all spoilers because I knew that I would be reading them myself at some point, and I just didn't want to see anything about them. So I am tackling a super popular series, a super popular book, and I am very excited but a little bit scared. Now, I'm not scared to DNF a book. If I am not enjoying it, that book is going. But I feel like because I've got the entire series and then the entire Once Upon a Broken Heart series upstairs on my shelves as well, that I can't just go in and DNF this if I'm not enjoying it. I feel like I'm going to have to push through. I mean, I might end up loving this book, who knows? We're going to go through this together and it's going to be a journey. I do know that they are young adult novels, so it shouldn't be anything too taxing on my little brain, but I thought for January, what a great book to read. A little bit of magic, a little bit of fantasy, perfect choice for January. So let's go, let's read Caraval and see how we get on. Good morning. So you lucky few people who actually watch these reading vlogs really do get the absolute rawest version of me in these videos. I've been awake, I don't know, about half an hour, if that. And I am having, today is Sunday by the way, and I am going to have the laziest Sunday ever. I have no plans apart from reading and colouring for pretty much the entire day, and I am so excited about it because I did start Caraval last night when I went to bed. It was the first opportunity I got to start the book, so I didn't get much read because I was actually really tired, and I had the best night's sleep last night, which never ever happens for me, so feeling very chipper this morning. But yeah, I started it and I'm up to page 34. I'm hooked. I am hooked already, and yeah, I just love it when a book can do that. The opening line is just a single page, and it says, "It took 7 years to get the letter right." Tell me that that does not make you want to read the book. I mean, I'm assuming if you're watching this all the way through, you either have no plans to ever read Caraval or you've already read it, because if you've never seen my reading vlogs before, we are going to go in depth with this. There are going to be lots of spoilers. There's no way to do a reading vlog without lots of spoilers. But yeah, that first line just instantly hooked me in, and like I say, I'm on page 34, and when I tell you I am mega excited to spend my day reading this, you best believe it. Scarlet and Donatella's dad, what an absolute piece of, yeah, loving it. Can't wait to get through this, but first things first, a coffee is very much needed, and I am going to do it. By the way, if you can hear a noise, there's a cat next to me because there's always a cat or three in these reading vlogs. But yeah, coffee, first things first, and then I'm going to have the ultimate lazy moment and actually get back in bed with my coffee and read more of Caraval, so let's go make a coffee. this is who you could hear, by the way. So Thomas is here on the end of the bed, falling asleep. Because he's also going to have a lazy Sunday, aren't you? Oh, there you go, he says yes. Normally I would like put this on the table and sit and do a proper chat about it, but I'm not gonna lie, I've got my big hoodie on, I'm wrapped in a blanket, I've got a box of chocolates and I can't be bothered to move, so we're just gonna do the update from here. So I did read in bed this morning, as you saw. I got a big chunk of the book read this morning, and then I've done a little bit of reading now. It's the evening now. And I've made it to page 100, so I thought this would be a good time to do an update. I am loving this book, like seriously loving it. And like the game of Caraval hasn't even begun yet. So I'm so excited about what is still to come. So basically so far, Julian and Scarlet have gone to this island where Caraval is, Legends like Private Island, in search of Donatella, Scarlet's sister, and when they've got there, they can't find Donatella. However, Julian has revealed that he has played the Caraval game before. I'm really unsure about how you're supposed to feel about Julian at the minute. I feel there's much more to him than what has been revealed so far, but I also kind of like him. And I don't know if I'm supposed to. Yeah, it's the night before the game begins now, and they were supposed to make it to an inn to stay the night before the sun came up, and Scarlet has just made it, but the door has shut and locked Julian outside, and that is pretty much where I'm up to. They don't know where Donatella is, but Scarlet is sure like that she's enjoying the game and everything, but she still wants to find her sister. So far, Scarlet is only planning on staying one night, but I'm guessing because I'm only on page 100 and there's 400 and something like 18 pages to this book, that she's not just staying for one night. So I am now on, let's just double check, page 167 of Caraval. I just can't get enough of it. Like, it's Monday now, and I'm highly disappointed that the working week is seriously going to get in the way of how much of this I can read, because I am just loving it so much. I've also, as well, this year, started writing notes down for books, and I feel like it's just going to make such a big difference for like reviews and things like that, because I am terrible for having so many thoughts while I'm reading it and then forgetting everything. I mean, like with these reading vlogs, it does help a little bit because I am sort of talking about it as we go along rather than just doing a big review at the end. So the game of Caraval has now well and truly begun, and one of the things that I'm really liking about the story is it leaves you feeling like unsure of who to trust. So you very much feel like you're in Scarlet's position, and like how unsure she is. So at the minute it's like, can you trust Julian? Can you trust Dante? I mean, like, Julian's already warned her against Dante, but I don't know if that's like part of his game or if Dante is like a bad guy. So yeah, I really like that the bit of confusion sort of mirrors the game as well, so that is a really good touch. But yeah, I'm dying to know what happens next. Like, Julian has gone missing at the moment. I still can't figure out what Julian's game is, and I don't think that's going to become clear for quite a long time. Howdy doodle. So I sat and read some of Caraval this morning with my breakfast, and I had to stop at such a crucial part, like to the point where I was like, do I need to work today, or can I just sit and read all day? The sad fact is, I do indeed very much need to work, so I couldn't sit and read all day, so I did have to leave it at the crucial part. Strap in. Because I have had so many questions about Julian. Most of my notes so far have been about Julian, because I have had so many questions about that man. It is unreal. And I just had the feeling that there had to be so much more to Julian's story. There was just something about it that was telling me, like, I couldn't understand why he wanted to help Scarlet when there can only be one winner of the game, and what was in it for him. And the more I've read, the more I have been like, Julian best not break Scarlet's heart. Well, we've just left chapter 21. Chapter 21 is where Scarlet dies for 1 or 2 days. That's not being decided yet. It depends if Julian's little trick worked. But yeah, Scarlet is dead, but not really. So she's gone into like this dream world, and she's seen lots of things about Legend and about Caraval. And oh my goodness, has this death dream just opened up so many other questions. So like, am I now supposed to believe that Scarlet's grandmother is Annalise, aka the Annalise that Legend fell in love with, and then Annalise went off and married someone else? And also, it has ended with, like, it's been saying that Legend has lots of different faces. He changes his face all the time. He never looks the same. And in this dream, she has seen Legend and he looks like Julian. Shut the front door. That is the moment I had to stop reading this book so I could go and work. And I was not gobsmacked because I just knew there had to be more to Julian. But now I'm like, is he Legend? It would make sense because it was talking about how Legend has a knack of making women fall in love with them and then sort of dismissing them at the end of the game. This dream also featured Dante's fiancée, who herself, because of Legend, because she fell in love with him and then he didn't love her back. And now I'm like, if Julian is Legend, he's going to break Scarlet's heart, and that is not what I wanted. I have been adamant that Julian cannot break Scarlet's heart. So I think I'm going to stick on the nice cozy reading ambience that I have on. I'm going to get under my blanket. I'm going to forget about today, and I'm going to go back to Caraval. So let's go. Let's do a little bit of cat footage, because it's not a reading vlog on here without some cat footage. And let's find out what is happening with Julian / Legend / who knows who it is. We're just doing it like this for now without the big light and setting the camera down and everything, because my little tiny mind is being blown to smithereens by this book. Like, the amount of times I have written a note in my notebook for this, only for that theory to then be disproved in the next chapter. It's just, I've got so many questions and not enough answers. But I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I am loving the fact that I just cannot guess what is happening. So earlier I said I'd read the bit where Scarlet had had the dream and she believed that Julian was Legend. I was fully on board with that theory. Like, I was there, I was like, yes, Julian's Legend. Julian's going to break at Scarlet's heart and I am not going to be impressed. Julian is not Legend. At least I don't think he is. I mean, that could change again, who knows. But I am now in the camp of Julian is not Legend. Like, so much more has happened now. But I don't know if any of it's true. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's part of the game. I don't know who to believe. It's just, I need to get to the end because I need answers. Like, yesterday. So where do we begin? Let me consult my notes, because honestly this is just, I feel like I'm in the game of Caraval, never mind Scarlet. Right, so Dante's dead. We pretty much went straight in there with that after it was pretty much revealed that Legend and Julian are not the same person. So Dante is dead. It turns out that Dante and Julian were like brother-in-laws. Again, if any of this is true, I might be coming back on again tomorrow and saying, do you know what, everything I said yesterday was a lie, it was all part of the game. But this is where we're at the minute. So Dante and Julian, brother-in-laws. Rosa was Dante's fiance and Julian's sister. So we've clarified that he's most likely not Legend now. The whole Annalise grandmother thing, I'm still not sure on. I'm pretty convinced that Scarlet's grandmother is Annalise that Legend was in love with. So now it's looking like Legend has invited the sisters there to get his revenge, and he's taken Tella in the hopes of making her fall in love with him, and then the whole scenario that happened with Rosa could play out again with Tella. So obviously Scarlet needs to get to her sister. However, just to throw another curveball in there, Scarlet and Donatella's father has now shown up. I don't know how, I don't have the answers to that yet, but he's somehow shown up now in Caraval, and it's just all going crazy. So yeah, according to my notes now, I believe that Julian isn't Legend, but I do think there is still so much more to Julian's story that we've yet to find out. Like, he's revealed little bits about how the fact that he knew that Scarlet and Tella had got the invite to Caraval, and that he'd sort of used Scarlet so he could get into the game, so he could obviously like work with Dante and sort of get revenge for his sister. But there's something more to him, and I can't fully work out what yet. I just know I want a happy ending for Scarlet and Julian. That is all I know, that is all I want right now. So let's do a little bit more reading, and then it'll probably be tomorrow morning now when I do another update. Scrap the reading update in the morning. The Count has entered the story. The Count that Scarlet is supposed to marry is now in Caraval, I think. I don't know what's happening anymore. Let me just try and process for a minute. So Scarlet and Julian have gone to this haberdashery because Scarlet is convinced that she's got another clue. In there is another man that she's now accused of being Legend. And Julian's taken an instant disliking to this guy. I mean, like, let's bear in mind, Scarlet has no idea who the man is that she's supposed to be marrying, aside from the fact that he's a count. She's never met him. But Julian has took an instant dislike to this guy, and he refers to Scarlet as his fiancée because Scarlet and Julian have been pretending to be engaged for the sake of Caraval. And this man has turned around and said, all this time I thought she was my fiancée. Excuse the sweaty egghead look, but I had to come on and give an update, and I've just been to the gym, and if I don't do this update now there'll be far too much to talk about. Also, we have a little sleepy Dobby joining us. Anyway, reading update. So much has happened in this book, it's just unreal. I mean, I read a little bit more. I mean, what day are we even on? Right, I read a little bit more Tuesday night after the last update. And then yesterday was Wednesday, and I didn't get much read. I only read 10 pages. But those 10 pages were an absolute roller coaster. So I am just looking at my notes now to see where we got up to. But I think I'm on about something like page 316 now. So I've got less than 100 pages to go in the story. But Julian, like, what is happening with Julian? He sort of disappeared because Scarlet followed the last clue in the game, and now she's found Legend, and then it turned out that Julian was working with Legend, and I got extremely angry because in the last update I said, like, Julian cannot break Scarlet's heart, and then it turned out, and I don't know why I was shocked at this, that he'd been playing a game, supposedly, and he joined Legend, and it was the whole thing to like break off Scarlet's engagement and then break her heart and sort of Legend get his revenge because her whole life is wrecked now. Like, she can't go back and live with her dad, she can't get married. But then, twist, it turned out it wasn't all just a game for Julian, and I was like so relieved. I was like, oh, he's not broke her heart, he does actually love her. And then Legend stabbed Julian, and that is where I had to leave it. So now it looks as though Julian's dead. I don't know if he is. I'm hoping and praying he's not, because that's just going to be tragic, and I can't have the book ending that way. So that is where we're at. Good morning. So there is only 30 pages of Caraval left. but I had to do an update before I get to the end because I will be finishing this book today and there's already so much to discuss from yesterday. But first off, let's just take a look at the situation that we've got going on for this review. We have a little Thomas sat on my knee. The last update I said there was a lot going on. There's like the whole Julian thing, and now there's just even more going on. Like, I don't know how much more can be crammed into these last 30 pages, but basically Scarlet found Teller, which was supposed to end the game, and then Scarlet was supposed to get a wish for finding Teller and winning the game. When she got there, like, the worst thing had happened, like what she thought might have happened, and Teller had fallen in love with Legend, and then Legend revealed that it had all been a big deception, and Scarlet and Teller's father came in along with the Count, and because of the deception and the fact that Teller can't face going back and living with her dad, she threw herself off a balcony. So now Teller is dead, so Julian's dead, Teller is dead. But then Scarlet was convinced that the game wasn't over and there is still a chance to save both Teller and Julian. And next revelation, the man who has been playing Legend this entire time has literally just been playing a character. He is not Legend. Apparently there is a very real man called Legend, but he sort of hides in plain sight and no one is ever sure who he is. Like, even half the actors don't know who the real Legend is. Scarlet was convinced it was her letters that got them into the game, but now it's been revealed that Teller was writing to him, and we've got to the point now where we're about to read the letters. I have a lot of thoughts about the ending of this book, which I will cover more when I do like the big wrap up at the end of this, but there is a lot going on. Like, this last 100 pages, there is so much going on, and I just hope it reaches a logical conclusion. 30 pages to go. Let's wrap up Caraval. We have reached the end of the reading vlog. I have finished Caraval. It's taken me, I'm just trying to think now, 6 days I think to read it. I said I wasn't going to rush with it. It was a series I wanted to take my time with, and I did take my time with it. I also couldn't put it down though. Like, there's been chunks of time where I have read a lot of this in one go. Now, the debate raged on when I finished this earlier this morning. Do I go straight on to Legendary, or do I have a little bit of a break? The decision has been made, and I am going straight on to the second book. I feel like I can't really have a break. I want this fresh in my mind for reading this. I'm just hoping and praying, because obviously this is Donatella's story, that it's as good as this, because I'm gonna find it really hard to leave Scarlet and Julian behind. Like, we all know how much I loved those characters, so I am just hoping that I fall in love with Donatella as much as what I did Scarlet and Julian. That does mean, because I'm going straight on to the second book, that I am essentially finishing this vlog and starting straight away with a new reading vlog. Now, I don't know how closely they will actually go onto my channel. There might be a couple of other shorter videos in between the two reading vlogs, but you cannot do book one of a series and then not do reading vlogs for the rest of the series. It just makes sense to do them all. So we are going on this Caraval series adventure together, and there are going to be reading vlogs for all 3 books. So this is Caraval done, and then we're going to be going straight on to Legendary. On the last update, I did say we needed to discuss sort of the last 100 pages, but my thoughts on that have already changed since getting to the end of the book. So initially I was going to say, oh look, we've got a little buddy with us. So this morning I was going to say I wasn't sure about how many twists have been packed into this final 100 pages. It is a lot, and initially I was tempted to maybe shave a little bit off of my rating and maybe go to like a 4.75, just because it was getting a lot with how many twists came in those final 100 pages. However, the last 30 pages that I read this morning did change my mind on that. All the twists in it aren't actually, it is intense, but they didn't actually niggle me as much as I thought they were doing, because it's all part of the magic and deception of Caraval and Legend. and that becomes really clear sort of in those last 30 pages that I read. For me, it was just excellently done. It didn't go how I thought it would. I didn't think it'd be quite as dark and twisty as what it is. Like, I thought it'd be more like fantasy, cutesy, magical, and it's not that at all. Like, it's got some beautiful moments in it, some really beautiful paragraphs in it, but it's not that cute, fluffy, fairy tale fantasy vibe. It is dark, like, in a way that still keeps it appropriate for young adults, but yeah, it's a lot more savage than I thought it would be. All in all, like, I was quite happy. I did get my happy ending for Scarlet and Julian as well, which obviously pleased me immensely. And I'll be honest, I was quite happy to leave the entire series there because I got what I wanted. However, then obviously the epilogue does go on to sort of the bargains that Teller has made, and a little bit is revealed about that, and she does get a note at the end reminding her that she does now need to pay back the favours that she asked for. Now obviously it's not being revealed just what kind of bargain Teller made. It's clear that she's not revealed everything to Scarlet, and that's where we're going to get answers in this one. So that is why I need to go straight on to this second book, because I need those answers. All in all, I think it's abundantly clear that I had a absolutely fantastic time reading this book, and I am so glad that I finally got round to it. Easy 5 stars for me. Like, it was a 5-star. I could tell it was going to be a 5-star right from the beginning, but easiest 5 stars. I'm super excited to move on to the next one, and I guess I will be seeing you in the next reading vlog, ready for Legendary. See you guys next time.